Hi, welcome to Helix Entertainment. I am Richard the Wolf Lewis.
I'm Matthew Prescott.
This is the Comic Book Legend series, a deep dive into comic book characters.
Today's is Harley Quinn.
Yes, today's episode is Harley Quinn, and it is number 1. Today, we wanted to come talk about one of our favorite characters, one of my wife's all-time favorite characters, and then a character that is, I guess, easier to start off with.
Oh, there's tons of characters that we could start off with, but Harley Quinn is certainly one that is, at this time, a very special character because she kind of fits with how the world feels right now. Right now you have, comic book characters in general, from when you had the golden age of comic book characters to now, all those great heroes that were all, high and mighty. They had, they did everything right. Superman, Wonder Woman. Yeah,
Wonder Woman.
That golden age just kind of...
Atomic Man.
Yeah, it's pittering out.
It is.
It really is pittering out because people realize that
some of those golden age characters don't work now.
Yeah, we no longer feel like we're the Boy Scouts. We feel as though the world is not black and white. The world is
gray all over.
Yeah, gray and lots of other fun colors.
Yeah.
And Harley Quinn specifically has gone from, of course, her humble beginnings in 1992's Batman Adventures of Batman,
or the Batman animated series.
Thank you, Batman animated series.
In 1993, she appeared as the Joker's henchman. It was supposed to be a one-off. The character was supposed to not appear any other time. I think, from what I can remember, they were either going to kill her off or just write her out.
Well, the creator, Paul Dini, he was developing the character. He was watching an episode of a daytime soap opera,
Yeah.
Days of Our Lives. He watched an episode where Aileen Sorkin's Kellogg Jones Bradford is in a dream sequence, dressed as a court jester.
Yep.
And thus Harley Quinn was born.
Yeah.
But and she even she voiced Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Which,
and she got to tell the animators how Harley should be on screen. Certain things should happen.
Oh yeah.
How her body should move, and how she should walk, and the way she should look when she walks. And Aileen Sorkin gave Harley Quinn the best start anyone could ever do.
Well, yeah, it sounds like Paul Dini himself in an interview was saying, yeah, she was a one-off character, and what was going to happen to her was pretty much nothing. She was just going to either disappear, or if they had to do something, get rid of her.
Yeah.
Everyone's favorite way of getting rid of characters, bump them off. But
Yep.
of course, later they said, let's just use her again because she seems to have a decent chemistry with Batman, or with Joker, my mistake.
Well, one thing is, after that first episode, Aileen Sorkin was watching the episode, and she noticed how she was connected to her own character that she voiced. And she noticed how all these other people around, when she went out and stuff, were connected. And so she went back to DC and started talking to them, and noticed everybody around the country started writing letters or doing whatever they did and wanted more Harley because they thought that she was genius. They thought, don't just leave us hanging with this character. And throughout that episode, she fully developed that character in that one episode. That is hard to do.
Well,
Even today, you can't even do that.
no, and it is hard, but with the way that Aileen Sorkin had the ability to have creative
Freedom.
input,
Yeah.
and that's really the trouble that I find with everything that is made today, which is creative freedom. Everything has to be, micromanaged and, put into some sort of perfect
We have
formula.
to make it $10 million off of this.
And that's the problem, is they think, no, we're going to follow the formula and that's it. It's like, well, guys, art isn't a formula. Art is something that,
It's subjective.
yeah, people like it, people don't like it, and sometimes...
And throughout the years, anyone who's voiced Harley Quinn, Kaylee Coco, or the one that did the live action Harley for the Suicide Squads, I can't think of her name off the top of my head, but all of them have done Harley justice. They paid homage to the original. They went to the one that did it after Arlene Sorkin.
Yeah.
And they all pay homage to those original two. But they also give Harley her own unique spin, her own unique twist. I know Harley went from the court gesture and that funky gesture hat that everyone knows to losing the hat and having her pigtails. That was the first big change that I remember Harley ever having, was losing that hat.
Yeah, Margot Robbie's portrayal.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Harder. The name just slipped from both of our heads, though. That was fun. Yeah, Margot Robbie, of course, now is just a huge star.
Huge.
And, I mean, what's funny is that after Harley Quinn's, normal debuts and the early stuff, she never really got a big, next step until I think they decided to have her in the live-action Suicide Squad. And even though she's not a main character, even though she's never really been given much in the way of, some sort of super ability, although they have dabbled with it.
They have, and she did get her own comic, or was put in the comics in 1993. She did play, they did play around with her in the late 90s, early 2000s with her own series and a couple series. And then when the New 52 came in, that's what the first big change. She dropped the gesture outfit.
Well, yeah, the New 52.
She had the shorty shorts, which even Margot Robbie says it's the stupidest thing for the character in the universe. I mean, let me tell you, she talked about that. She hated doing that scene where she had to change into the short shorts. I mean, I think any guy would hate doing that, let alone any female in the world. Just because that's how the character was at the time. And they were basing, the original Suicide Squad was based off of how some of the characters looked in the New 52.
Yeah.
But once they gave her pants in Rebirth, I was so happy. Because those short shorts and that top fits her, but the short shorts, come on. Why is this world coming to, everything needs to be shorter for women and guys can wear whatever? It's like, that's not how it works. And Harley Quinn is proof of that. Poison Ivy is proof of that. Even Catwoman and Batgirl are proof of that. They should be able to have stuff that aren't micro, like micro shorts or micro this, that. But
it's always been the trouble with comic books is that they're first geared towards males.
Yeah.
For sure. It was always geared towards the male audience. But of course, now years present, you can have comic books read by anybody.
Yep.
And that's why they realize that they're like, look, we can drop the entire, only sex sells, because that's not the way it is.
Yep.
You don't have to constantly exploit the female body in order to sell everything. You can have a character that you can actually put in a respectful outfit without having to, debase them.
And I understand in the late 80s and into the 90s, even into the early 2000s, they were trying to get away from the Comic Code Authority, which was everything needs to be covered, everything needs to be hidden on a female. They need to look the most respected, most pristine type of person. But they also thought, don't just put him out there as a sex object. And I think Harley was one of the first characters that broke that true mold of, yeah, she's hot. Yeah, she's drawn a certain way. But if we do the character more justice and put her in an outfit that actually fits her style, her personality, that it's more genuine. And it doesn't turn the long-term comic book fans away saying, this isn't true to Batman. Why would Batman be fighting a bad guy who's wearing booty shorts, looking like a hooker down the road, when there's a bunch of those in Gotham City?
Well, I mean, she was Joker's girlfriend, so her sanity is a bit in question. and let's go on that, where she has gone from, I mean, yeah, just Joker's henchman, and then
let me stop you there.
Sure.
Because she did first appear as not only Joker's girlfriend, but right before she became Joker's girlfriend, she was Dr. Harley Quinzel.
Yes.
A psychiatrist.
Yes, and that
from New York. I think it's not Manhattan, the Bronx is where they say she's from originally. But that could also be what they say in the Harley Quinn, the animated series.
Yeah.
So, taking that as a grain of salt, I could be wrong. We're not going to know everything.
Well, I mean, her backstory, and they've tried to do more cartoons or films about, her childhood, and although that type of thing doesn't always need to be told, I think we sometimes have a tendency of over diving into certain characters. It's like, guys, the origins aren't always as interesting as you're going to hope they are.
That's why Batman and the Bold, Brave and the Bold animated series actually reined it back and didn't tell the origins, and you still got it because you knew all these characters. You knew Jim Gordon, you knew the Joker, you knew the Penguin, Batman, you knew everyone's backstory, so we didn't need to dive into it.
Well, yeah, and especially when sometimes a backstory, it's like, well, they were a person until then they became this character, and that's when we all wanted to pay attention, is when
they were nobody who became somebody.
Yeah.
And that transition, that the Joker just manipulated Harley. And in some media, they want to say, no, the Joker never manipulated Harley. He manipulated Harley.
Well, that's something I was wanting to talk on, is that Harley definitely had a really dark period where Joker, I mean, because, of course, a relationship there is pretty weird.
Pretty one-sided.
Yeah. Well, Joker liked her in the way that she was fascinating, that she could take his abuse and she would keep coming back, and they had this odd, electric dynamic. But, it kind of turned into him being a bit of just an abuser, and then she was the abused woman that just kept coming back.
Yep.
Which I'm glad that they're stepping away from, because
even when they didn't step away from it, they had Poison Ivy trying to point it out. They had Batgirl trying to point it out.
Yeah.
Even Batwoman at one point tried to say, hey, and Catwoman tried to say, hey, this is going on. Even Nightwing in a few comics tried to say, hey, you need to leave this guy. He's not good for you. Even Amanda Waller tried to separate him. But knowing Joker, he just busted through any wall he had to get back to her.
And yeah, it's a great way of them going into domestic abuse in real life and going, hey guys, like, these are.
But yet they did it in a tasteful. I believe they did it in a tasteful way that didn't detract from the main comics and didn't turn people away saying, okay, this is too hardcore into that.
No. They used
and destroyed the characters.
Yeah, no, it still was as, part of the story that it just naturally.
And it was subtle.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't really see Joker just pounding on her or anything like that. Yeah, you saw him backhand her and other things, try to blow her up, try to do this. But he was also an insane piece of crap that...
Well, he's the Joker.
Yeah. I mean, even Mr. Freeze and some of the other supervillains of Gotham and Metropolis have done some pretty out there stuff to Harley that makes you think, Harley, why are you trying to go back to the Legion of Doom and all this other stuff? It's like, no, come on. That's why when Injustice came out, when I got into the comics, it was after Injustice came out, and I had played the games, and I learned this new facet of Harley where she left the Joker and was off on her own with Poison Ivy. And I love that because Poison Ivy for Harley is what Robin was for Batman. It's that glue that takes you out of a dark place and brings you into the light. Brings you into pretty much anti-heroism.
Yeah.
For Harley. And brings her out of that darkness that she was in for so many years and so long. And brings her into more of a light where she can say, I need help. And she got the help. Through Nightwing, through Poison Ivy, even through Catwoman. She got the help. She figured out he wasn't good for her, meaning the Joker, and took that and said, you know what, I'm done. But with Injustice, they showed the darkest thing that the Joker could ever do. And when the Joker was finally killed, it finally opened her eyes. And in the main universe, when they crossed it over, she finally woke up, truly woke up for the main universe. Because a lot of it was more other universe.
Well, yeah.
And Elseworld stories, or stories that aren't in the main timeline. And now it was, okay, these are all in the main timeline. These are all, she's waking up. She's noticing what he's doing. And she doesn't want it. She even, from what I understand, before the, what was it? Before the bombing of the Arkham Asylum during the Joker War, she had noticed Joker had a new hench person. I say person because political correctness as it is today. But yes, it is a female. Her name is Punchline. He took Punchline and is using Punchline as he used Harley. I don't know too much about Punchline, but I know enough that Harley wants to literally kill Punchline because she's doing the same things she did and she sees that it's wrong. And since Injustice, I think she's totally done a 360. Is trying to help out the Bat family, trying to help out Batman, trying to reform a lot of the henchmen from the Joker War, and trying to fix a lot of that. Her and Bill, this oversized henchman that used to run with the Joker, that now runs with Harley, is really trying to turn things around. And from what me and my wife have read so far, it's working. Last I can recall, Harley was off in Seattle with Poison Ivy, off on an adventure. Poison Ivy's really in her book, in Harley's book a lot. Harley also appears in Poison Ivy's book a lot. And the look she has fits Harley to a T. The halter top, the pants, the nice red and black or red and blue boots.
Yeah, the color scheme.
And using red and blue and red and black as the two main suits is perfect, because you can go a bit darker with the red and black, as Harley, being a bit on the darker side. Then the red and blue, Harley being more on the good side. So when you see the two different colors, you know that this character is the true anti-hero that she needs to be. And I believe she works in this world more than she ever has.
Well, what makes an anti-hero so important right now?
This world isn't the best. We in the real world have a lot of issues, and a lot of people want to dive into comics, video games, TV shows, movies, and just escape our world. Harley Quinn, alongside Red Hood, are two very good characters that you can lose yourself in and see that they are on the right path. I know in the game Arkham Asylum, or it was part of the Arkham Asylum series, but it was the last main one where Batman had died. It was Batgirl, Tim Drake, Robin, Nightwing, and Red Hood, and you had Harley Quinn in the game in Arkham Asylum. Arkham Knight, that's what it is. That game gives you the best look at two of the best anti-heroes DC can have right now. Those two, one on the wrong side of the law still, but it still is working to be better, working for a better future, trying to help without helping, but help enough that you know that they're helping.
Yeah. But in a world of superheroes, what has made Harley seem to stand out so much? Because you have Wonder Woman, you have a number of different female,
I think it's her story and it's her staying power. Harley, to me, Harley has been a true staple since the beginning. It's everything she took at the beginning, everything she's dealt with, and yet she's overcome that and become
an inspiration story.
Yes, yeah. And become the person who she is today because of all that. Despite all that, she is who she is because of her past. She's not running from it. She's embracing, okay, it happened. How can I go forward? How can I change? And she's stayed current. She's one of the most, she's outselling, and I mean outselling Wonder Woman tenfold. Everybody, I'm reading online, everybody wants Harley as one of the Trinity now. Because what's in the new Trinity, I can see Nightwing, Harley Quinn, Red Hood.
Yeah.
As the, well, not necessarily as the exact Trinity, Red Hood, Harley Quinn, and then I would have to go Superboy to give you the Superman type of John Kent Superboy. Because if you look at it, we had, for a while, Wonder Woman died. She went to Asgard and dealt with some stuff there. She was gone for quite some time. And nobody, you had her stories, but it was mostly Wonder Girl or one of the other Amazons as Wonder Woman. I don't really pay too much attention. Then for a while, John Kent was Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Because Superman was off-world or doing whatever. The thing is the Trinity, who's outselling who? I understand Batman's always a staple. Superman's always a staple. Wonder Woman has proven to be a staple. So has Harley Quinn. So has Red Hood.
Now, what's the next big steps for Harley Quinn? Because we've done Suicide Squad, they've done another movie, and although, even the first Suicide Squad was really, it wasn't much on story, but it gave some screen time for the character.
I loved it because of Deadshot being played by Will Smith was a fresh take on that character.
It was. But it didn't really...
They should have added him back into the second one.
I think it's that it just didn't generate the fanfare that they wanted. Yet,
and
Harley
I understand
Quinn
why.
Came out on top in that film.
She did.
It's the one character that everyone goes, no, that's the one.
And that's why she
we
returned.
Actually wanted to go and watch the film for.
Yep.
I can remember watching the trailer as they're walking into this big room with the woman, with her in the cage, hanging upside down, spinning on bed, and you're going, okay, that looks interesting.
Yep. Even the casual fans knew. Everyone knows who Harley Quinn is. You know. The thing is now, I think it's more of, how is she going to help? How is she helping the Bat family out? How is she rebuilding, trying to rebuild and help out from the result of the Joker war? That's the biggest thing.
It's also difficult because once you take her into the Trinity or into, closer into the, the Bat enclave of different characters, you then realize that she's standing among some extremely well-trained, disciplined, hardcore fighters, and you go, okay, what are they going to do with Harley Quinn that's going to get her ready for the next level of, fighting this threat or that threat without taking away what is unique to her? It's hard.
It is, but they stuck to her true nature. She still has her baseball bat. She still has her guns. She still has her mallet, the oversized mallet that she uses. She's still trained enough that she knows what she's doing. But like you said, it's not, to some people it's not enough. But because she's outgunned, all these other people, The Signal, Nightwing, Damian Wayne, Tim Drake, all are trained by one of the best of the best. Or the League of Assassins. And you even have Joker when he was fighting himself, because there was another Joker out in LA who was boink, 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 and stepping up the game. Now Harley has stepped it up to a level, because she's running with Poison Ivy. I think that's giving and being part of that LGBT plus grouping that they put her in is great.
I think the best interpretation and play with Harley Quinn that I've seen so far is actually it was a kids cartoon where they're set in school. Harley's young, Poison Ivy's young, and I believe there's another character, and all three, I don't believe they know each other's super identities.
They just know their villain identities?
They all go and play their villain identities, but in normal day-to-day school, they don't tell each other. And
okay.
It's not much of, a big hardcore, take it seriously, action cartoon. It actually is really nice in that you get to have just some more enjoyable time with Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy,
person.
And I can't remember what the third character is.
Probably Catwoman.
You're right. It is. It is Catwoman.
Selena Kyle.
Yep. And they all, and it's great because it's the three main girls that have made it through the years, and it just
Those are the only three big ones for Batman.
And you know, that it seems to be the same way with a lot of characters right now, where
I mean,
the oldest ones.
Cheetah's with the main female for Wonder Woman. Not to throw your thought off.
No, no.
Of course, but it's weird how certain females for certain characters you can point out and go, that's it. Like Killer Frost for Flash. Killer Frost for Flash is one of those characters that you know who it is. You can see just a picture of her. No title, no description, just a picture. And you know who it is. You know the henchman for Superman's main villain, Lex Luthor. Some people still to this day don't know that his main henchwoman is a female. Yeah. His main, so the one that he goes to every single time is a female. And it has been since the beginning. But some people still don't know that.
So Lex Luthor is right-hand person.
Yeah. His right hand, his number one, is a female. I forgot her name, but yeah, it's a female. Fun little trivia for you.
Yeah, right.
And it's funny how for Batman he always turns to Harley when he has to turn to someone. He may turn to Catwoman a lot of times, which he has, don't get me wrong. But the one person he knows he can get information from and knows that they have their ear to the ground in Gotham has always been Harley Quinn. Because he knows her ear is on the pulse of his city.
Yeah.
And plus Dick Grayson has always shown Harley's smarter than anybody knows. And she's now showing it. She's just now showing truly how smart she is. And I think, like you were saying, how is she going to survive in an overpowered world or an overtrained landscape of heroes? She's a lot smarter than anyone knows. She can do a lot of the things Batgirl does with Batgirl Barbara Gordon or Alfred or some of these others. I know in some of the cartoons they dumb her down a little, but she is truly an effective fighter. She's knowledgeable on a bunch of different things. She is one of the most untrained trained person in that city. No formal training, but yet she has training. And she shows it every time she fights. And it's just miraculous. Seeing the abilities that she can do that you only think gymnastic people or people in the circus or crazy people can do. With a mallet, with a baseball bat, with pistols in her hands, flipping and twirling, having the compassion she has, having the love that she shares with Poison Ivy is phenomenal. I love that romance of Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn and how they dove so far into that and made that essential core to her story. That is also another driving force for who Harley is. Without that, you wouldn't have Harley as she is today. You wouldn't have Harley care about the environment the way she does. You wouldn't have her care about other people the way she does if she didn't have that romance with Poison Ivy. Poison Ivy's not a true supervillain either. an anti-hero, and she always has been. But the methods she used bordered on that line of supervillain, anti-hero, and crossed that line into supervillain more times than it crossed the other way. And it's like, yeah, she's more of a supervillain than she is a hero. But also, if you really look at Poison Ivy, all she wants is for us humans to stop destroying the planet.
Yeah, Poison Ivy falls into the same grade category as, a Malcolm X.
Yep.
Or, yeah, anyone that's like, I'm tired of watching the things that I care about and most of humanity should care about, be destroyed or be treated so poorly. So I'm going to use a forceful method instead of...
And she's an activist who stepped it up one too many times and one too many different ways. But she's also shown some of these core characters like Nightwing or Flash or Cyborg or even Starfire and some of the others. We need to care about our planet before it's too late. We need to really try and rebuild our planet before it's too late. And a lot of these, the Titans, the Justice League, in the last 10 to 15 years, have shown a more uptake on that message. Because her message isn't as harsh as it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's the popular thing to do, moving with the times and finding current events to talk about. But kind of harping back more to Harley Quinn and where she is, what she's doing, and what they'll do with her next. Do you think that... I think a standalone movie would work for her, but I don't think it's going to work in the same way that they have taken all the other DCU movies. I think you're going to have somewhat, not quite as far as the Joker film has become, where it's just...
Oh, that new Joker?
Yeah, with Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, the new trailer.
I don't think you want to go that far as well. You don't need to go into Harley Quinn's horrible treatment or backstory. I think you just need to go into a relaxed, almost Deadpool style, where you're free flowing with the comedy. You're free, you get a creative idea of just having fun with character.
And that's what they'll do. I truly believe
that's what I hope they do. But it's hard to do it in this day's environment. It just is.
Well, with Deadpool being so successful and Deadpool and Wolverine being the latest huge, I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine has everybody talking about the MCU now. Well, where nobody was talking about it before.
No, everyone was talking about the MCU. They just were realizing that the MCU has been driven to the ground by the greedy people who
think that, we need our money back. Why don't you make a good movie and make a movie that makes sense?
Well, I mean, you have your hands pretty well tied when it comes to that. Warner Brothers is all owned by executive firms that are basically just...
I understand you need to make your money back for making the film, but if you're not going to make a good movie that people want to see, you're never going to make your money back.
That's the difficult thing about it, is that...
And you need to listen to your fans.
That'd be nice, I mean, but as you've seen with, like, The Witcher just completely couldn't help themselves in that...
Yeah, but they were too much in their own heads.
And that's what happens in a lot of...
They were like, what can we do for corporate, but what do the fans want?
Well, I mean, it was also the gal who was the director who didn't like Henry Cavill's, idea of... Well, he wanted to stay on course with the books and the games. And it's not a hard thing to do.
No.
Even though you're showing something that you've already seen in the game, it doesn't mean that it's not still interesting. And that's what they kind of seem to have a fear of. It's like, well,
the director wanted to go in a new direction, show some new stuff, make some more lore and history.
Well, I guess they would privately make fun of him for, they actually hated the books. I guess some of the people who were on the creative team read the books and thought they were just trash. And I'm going, well, maybe you're in the wrong business then.
Yeah.
If you don't like what it is that you're making,
You don't like the source material.
yeah, you need to step away, because you're only going to take this that
And
is
damage it.
not meant for you. You're creating a piece of art that's not meant for you. You're meant to give it away to people that go, well, that's exactly what I was hoping for. But doesn't mean you can't have creative spin on it too.
And that's where...
Just don't get too far.
That's where I like how you brought up Deadpool. One of my all-time favorite characters. That's where when Ryan Reynolds first was introduced was when he was on the set of Blade. When he was on the set of Blade, one of the actors in that movie said you would be perfect for Deadpool. He was given some comics, some Deadpool comics. He read them. From what I understand, him himself and other people say he loved it. He went to comic book shops and they would just give him, oh, you need to read this, you need to read this about the character, and just giving him books for free because they wanted him to read this character, and everyone knew he was perfect for the role.
Well, yeah, Ryan Reynolds' comedic style all the way back to Van Wilder was absolutely effortless, it felt like, for him, and timelessly funny, where it's
at that time he was even, you could see him as Deadpool.
Oh, I mean, yeah, if you knew the Deadpool character at all, you go, oh yeah,
that's Ryan Reynolds.
This guy just fits right into the suit.
And that's the thing with Harley, is because of what they're doing in this new Joker movie that has a French name. I don't even get it. I can't even pronounce the name. Faux.
I haven't actually looked a lot into it, because I find the direction they want to go with Joker and all that is kind of the same way that you have shows like The Walking Dead or whatever. I don't. It's dark. It's a little too forward in trying to put forward the, I guess, sad, depressive.
Well, you also got to remember this is an Elseworlds type of thing. The whole Joker series was meant as an Elseworlds, not in the. So you have the DC timeline for the DCU that's going to be going. You have the comic book timeline, which is supposed to be running parallel to what the movies are, and they're supposed to somewhat connect. Then you have the Elseworlds timeline, which is any movie that they want to put over there, or any TV show. I know Superman and Lois was in the Elseworlds category, but they're also saying that some of it is canon to the main DC universe, which is the movies and the comics. But it was supposed to take Joker and put him in a different light. In the original, they wanted to share why Joker's so troubled. Why is he so troubled? Why is he who he is? So at some level.
That's a broken kind of. I mean, for myself, it's a broken kind of idea, because people, although it is a constant human need to know why, we love this idea of why, and thinking that if we ask why enough, we'll be able to fit this why into this little box, and then we can go, oh, there's the why. No, it'll never ever work that way fully,
especially because of the character or the actor they chose to play the Joker in that movie.
When you take a human psyche and realize that they have psychopathic tendencies, sociopathic tendencies, all the things that basically make people do things that are not explainable in a predictable sense. The animal in the jungle is going to go after this other animal because everything's right. He sees him. He knows there's no other dangers around, and he's like, okay. And how is he going to go at him? Well, we studied him, so he's going to go at him at this. That doesn't work with people like the Joker, who has very little to no empathy, if there's any empathy at all. His understanding of reality is completely askew. I mean, yes, you can show that people become insane like that, but I mean, that's like the same story of taking a normal person, sending them to war, and then going, oh, at what point did you become crazy? Was it when your friend's head fell off, or was it when the blood spurted out of the decapitated head? That's what we really need to nail this down. This is important stuff.
At what particular instant?
Did your eyes roll in the back of your head and you go, my brain is now, it's totally screwed. So yeah, I do love sometimes when you get into little bits of deep dives, but when you go too deep, Christopher Nolan, he went on Batman's Dark Side, right?
Yeah.
And everyone loved it. Sure, there are some...
That's where I think with the Joker movie, that's where they were trying to go, is that type of Joker. That's where they wanted it. Because that Joker, besides the animated series, which is voiced by Mark Hamill.
Yes. The great Mark Hamill.
The great. Oh my God, he's so good. Every movie he does is great.
Yeah.
Even if people say it's trash, it's still great.
Well, I mean, he had the current Star Wars don't really count anyway. I don't even want to count those. I know a lot of people.
George Lucas did sign off on it though.
Well, he signed away money. George Lucas didn't really make money off of the Star Wars in the first place.
No, but
he was the toy manufacturer.
When he was when he signed or gave Disney Star Wars, he was able to say, okay, that's how, if they're going to make any more movies, okay, you can take it in that direction. So he signed off on all 3 of the new movies, saying that he approved it, that it was okay for it to go in that direction. It didn't. The constant director changes is what truly hurt that series.
Well, just like the MCU currently, with all the just kind of
and that's why
halfway. Star Wars was exactly the same. They rode off of the name recognition as hard as they could, copied so many elements from the original film without really realizing that the original films were a space opera.
Yeah.
Which means deep interest in
space
the characters.
Opera with wands.
Yes.
It is Harry Potter with lightsabers instead of wands.
Yeah, but Harry Potter did.
I know Harry Potter came out after, but it's a lot of people draw that comparison. Star Wars is just Harry Potter in space.
Well, they actually had the same comparison where Harry Potter has a lot of the same ideas that Star Wars did, as in Harry Potter copied Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, well...
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, okay. Because, that's a really hard thing, though, in any popular fiction,
Is anything truly original?
Yeah. And at some point you just gotta kind of like, no, just enjoy your story.
That's
as
why,
long as you can tell it's not plagiarized, which some people get pretty
but
close.
Still, the Joker from the whole Dark Knight trilogy.
From Christopher Nolan's. And the way that all those characters
Oh my God,
played,
that was my favorite live action Joker. I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, I forgot the actor's name who played him, the one that passed away. But he was the perfect encapsulation of who you think the Joker is. Because he was just crazy enough, but just sane enough at the same time. So you knew his motivation, and you knew what he wanted to do and where he wanted to go. But you knew just how he got to that point at the same time.
Yeah, it was
the way
a perfect introduction without any kind of need for origins. Like I said, origins becomes a little bit of too much of an obsessive area when it's like, guys, we like the character. what was before the character isn't always truly going.
But I mean, if we had the same actor doing that original Joker movie, I think it would have turned more into a Christopher Nolan style movie without Christopher Nolan being around.
Well, I believe there was two or three other actors who had to finish certain parts. Or maybe that wasn't the Batman series. That was, it was the next film that the actor was in. Name now I have to.
But the reason I bring that up is because that Joker series, yeah, I even think it's creepy. In a lot of ways, it's a bunch of crap. Shouldn't exist, but it does. It exists in Elseworlds. If we had the original actor from the Nolan series, who sadly is no longer with us.
Heath Ledger.
Yes. Heath Ledger made the Joker as insane as he was, just enough, and didn't go overboard like Joaquin. Oh my God.
Well, Joaquin Phoenix is a really amazing actor, and he did exactly what the part called for, and that was
a little too well.
Well, that's how it was written. They were doing the same thing that they did in the new Batman with Patrick Roberts, and Patrick Roberts again is also an extremely talented actor.
But he pulled it off way better than Joaquin did. I look at the Batman.
In a totally different style, because you have Joaquin, and that's more of the character study of if a real person was going through. It has very little of the real. It's no longer the superhero universe. It's just like this normal person that's going crazy.
Yeah.
Whereas in what's going on with Robert Patrick's Batman, he meets the Joker the Joker's in the insane asylum, where they have kind of more of a blurred area of him, and you're like, no, that sounds pretty close to this character I'm looking for.
It's like in the Arrowverse when you hear Harley's voice, but you never see her.
Yeah. Which is always
one of the biggest things. I do draw parallels with Harley in between the Joker and the new Robert Pattinson Batman movie. And I stick Harley in the middle for this reason, because how Robert Pattinson is doing Batman is more in tune to, okay, they started year one.